Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays Abiding by AFTERBIRTH Plus. Like a bridge over troubled waters. We made it through that last run. What does he say? Like a bridge over troubled water. Does he say, I will lay you down? I didn't realize it was a Barry White song. Alright, we got positives and negatives here. In fact, some of our positives are negatives. And that's, you know, a metaphor. Not just for Isaac, but, you know, for life or something. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. But our best value right now, you know, the best item in our wheelhouse, there's no doubt, it's Locust of War. You know, our speed is not good. Our rate of fire is terrible. Our damage stat specifically is pretty bad. But Locust of War, essentially by its lonesome, is doing most of the heavy lifting for us here. That will not last forever. Robo Baby 2.0 is at least capable of taking out these enemies. Please keep in mind these enemies are essentially like nothing. Like they have some of the least HP in the entire game. But you know, it is what it is. We don't really have much choice in the matter for the present moment. There you are. So I'm just going to try to keep myself out of harm's way. And that includes... Oh, jeez. Hold on. Get him. That includes using Locust of War, I think, to get as much value out of the situation as we conceivably can, because we're really behind the 8 ball here. So we got Chariot and then Stars. I think I'll hold Stars for now just to get us early access to the item room on the next floor. If we're gonna do that, we're probably best off taking the Chariot so we can crush whatever this boss is. Really trying to use my noggin. You know, I don't think I've had a fantastic run in Isaac lately, and I think it's due to a combination of two factors. One of which I don't have control over, which is, you know, seed generation and the quality of the seed in question. The other one is my own personal performance. I think my own personal performance has been relatively bad. If that's the only thing within the zone of our control, then we're going to seek to control it. So we're not going to go to the curse room. Just a little bit too light on HP, even with the teleportation, to feel comfortable doing that. And just go to one room. I mean, we can use the Stars card whenever. The best case scenario for using the Stars card is probably to use it to teleport out of a room that's heinous, you know, or a room that we have to pay a cost to be in. So, yeah, don't get too close. That one hurts because I saw it coming. And in fact, I don't know, man, I think, like, that, and we could have died easily right there. We might just want to drop our Locust of War for the time being. I'm going to continue to hold it for now just because, you know, we did get that half Spirit Heart, but Locust of War, it really, really runs the risk of doing exactly what it did right there. Now, I don't feel like I can afford to drop it here just because we got other things on the go. This one hurts because I really, you know, I tried to make that work for us. It was actually pretty good on the first floor, too. But let's not throw good HP after bad, although we literally already did that. I gotta try this. That's a cruel joke. I had to try it, I feel, because we needed, you know, a chance to... Oh, my word. We needed a chance to get some HP out of it. Or any kind of utility, honestly, would have been acceptable. Yoinks. What do we got? We still got a 100% chance of a deal with the devil. Can't take that away from me. Can you? Well, you can, but only in a literal sense. I gotta try it, dude. Beautiful. Actually cleared us up quite nicely. Gotta be super cautious, please. Okay, just gotta kill the spiders. No big deal. Get a deal with the devil. Survivability. live through the next floor somehow. Dude, we're close to spun. Thank you for not being Krampus. But, yep. Dude! The scissors. Hey, I was just doing it to unlock the achievement. We've done it. Terrible. JKAHRD40. I mean, what hurts about that one is it's twofold, okay? I put in a lot of effort on the last run, believe it or not, to get that win. And then to just have it disappear as a result of my own actions is disappointing. It is, but you know, it was Locust of War. I had control over whether or not we kept it. I got greedy and I said, I don't want to deal with this low DPS. Let's rock Locust of War, even though it's dangerous. And that's the situation it led to. Feels bad, man. And the slump continues. And it's all, this is how a slump ends up, you know, feeding into itself, I'll tell you. Because I can feel, you know, as a result of the loss, I feel myself, you know, there's a little growing discontent in the gut. That discontent is going to lead me to, you know, play a little bit more emotionally as opposed to rationally. It's going to lead to worse plays. It's going to lead to more slumping. And then, you know, it starts with a subtle impact and then becomes, I think, more and more obvious as time goes on. So all we can't change the fact that we just lost. All we can do is recognize that, you know, that's where we want to stop it for the time being. Because, man, we've been at like a 50% win rate recently, which is pretty horrendous for Isaac. Like, I mean, truly not good. Now, basically none of the runs were super great, except maybe one. But still, it shouldn't be happening, basically. Now, this is a very good start. Our stats are fine. HP is better than fine. Speed and tears are worse, but, you know, we got more positives than negatives for sure right here. All we gotta do, and this is an easy task, you know, it's a simple task. Let's not describe it as easy unnecessarily, but all we gotta do is get your deal with the devil on this floor, and you're good to go. Now, it's a very tempting situation. It's tempting enough to do, I think, actually. Beautiful. Now what you do, you got a huge HP buffer that you can use. The money's useful. The luck is useful. Obviously, a full payout would be useful as well. Just to be on the safe side. Oh, hello, bum friend. Let's do this. If we get an IV bag, that would actually be completely fine, because we just per throw it. Now, I don't know how much further we're going to go. Let's go until we get 15 cents. That's relatively safe. Then, I'll go till I get the 2 hearts. Okay, hey, excuse me, sir. Per throw becomes Bumbo. Dude, there's a lot of competition for our very limited amount of HP right now. Let's try this. I'd much rather have Bumbo get the money. No doubt about that. But that was a huge room for us. If we can get Bumbo to pick up more money if we played that room, I would like to. But I don't know how we're going to get Bumbo to get the money over Bum Friend. You know, I don't know if one's faster, one's slower. You know, it's not like we can choose to drop the coin closer to Bumbo. So, you know, kind of just beholden to whatever they got in store for us there. But, you know, whoever can pick up the money, by all means, go for it. So we're very, very close to accomplishing our first objective here. I don't want the secret room as much as I want this tinted rock, because a small rock would be enormous for us. And honestly, you know, a spirit heart is still pretty good. Okay. Bumbo. Ah! Bumbo. I think Bumbo got that one. I'm trying to pull the bum friend back because it's the first one in the queue. I don't know how well it worked out, but we tried. We gave that our all, no doubt about it. All right, make sure this guy's getting stuck. Anyway, now, you know, it's 10 minutes into the video here. Pretty bad start, all things considered, but I'm not going to let it dampen my mood. Having a fun time. Anytime you get to play video games and have people to listen to what you're saying, that's a good day. I can't complain. Pretty easy setup there, and to be honest with you, a deal with the devil that doesn't really appeal to me. There's a case perhaps to make for a multi-dimensional baby, but I think multi-dimensional baby kind of stinks unless your rate of fire is such that you know, you can really make it happen for you. So flooded cave scares the crap out of me, but I'm hopeful that, you know, maybe because it counts as an even numbered floor, we might have an This is an issue. Radio silence. We might have an opportunity to get another arcade. Oh, I was right to pick up 2 cents. I should have just gone one further because there's no way that Bumbo was gonna win that battle there. Yo, Bumbo, you genius! And now he's got speed. He's added limbs to the equation and cannot be stopped. What's weird is I don't know if I've ever... I've almost certainly had Bumbo and Bumfriend together before, just, you know, due to the law of large numbers. I'll go back for that key. You see, the shot looked like it homed. You telling me that the booger tier's home? What is happening? Hold on, I gotta try something. Well, maybe there was an enemy with a tractor beam, you know, or like a gravitational pull going on there. That was weird. I think Spider Bite is acceptable. I'd probably overrate the item slightly, but that doesn't mean it's not worth taking. You know, it's one of the great confusions of the internet criticism age. Overrated doesn't mean bad. Underrated doesn't mean good, you know? Something can be underrated and still be pretty terrible. Something can be overrated and still be amazing. I'm trying to think of some good examples, but you know. What's a movie that I think is like underrated but still bad? That's a great question. We all know conceptually how it would exist, right? You know, like people are going, this is a 2 out of 10. But actually, you're like, that's not a 2 out of 10, that's a 5. That's a big one. You know, we should probably snag that as well. You probably got examples. Or a movie that's overrated. You know, I've got the perfect example of a movie that I think is overrated, for me personally. Overrated is also, it's kind of like a useless criticism, right? Because you're not criticizing the thing that you should be criticizing, you're criticizing the reaction to the thing that you should be criticizing, which is kind of like, I don't know, did you get into the biz to criticize the reaction to things or to criticize things? Anyway, that being said, I'm going to be part of the problem here. A movie that I think is overrated but still good is Dunkirk. My personal opinion. I think Dunkirk is a good to great movie that I didn't like as much as it seems like the average person liked it. I think that for me perfectly fits the bill. Then something that's underrated but still garbage. Now that's a tougher one to come up with. I'm working on it. I was like, there's got to be some video games in there that are underrated but still bad. You know, the only thing coming to mind right now for me is a game from like 2013 called Remember Me, which was a character action game, like almost like a Devil May Cry sort of deal, from the previous console generation. But it also mixed the character action bits with like these weird ghost trick puzzles that were actually really, I don't want to say innovative, but they were a new style of gameplay that I thought was really cool. Then when it came out, people were like, this is like a 5. And I'm like, no, you're crazy. That's a 6. We've been talking about it, actually. Me, Austin, and Malf talked about it a little bit on the Team Unity Tuesday the other day. And Austin was talking about it on his own show. I was talking about it on my own show as well. I got a resolution to some extent. I know we're in March already, but I got a resolution to some extent for 2019. And that's, you know, I think we could do better when it comes to positivity. On the NLSS in particular, I mean. Now, I don't want the show, and there's other people out there, I'm not calling them brands insultingly, but there's other people out there whose brand is essentially unbridled positivity, you know? They tweet, "You can do it. Whatever you want to do, you can put your mind to. Make sure to drink water, sweetie," etc., etc. Now, I'm perhaps cynical about that, but I'm not calling it false positivity. I think those people, when they make tweets like that, they just have a different brain than I do. In their brain, they're like, this is good and motivating, and for a lot of people, I guess it is. For me, something's wrong, you know? A couple of neurons got crossed with my anger centers in my adolescent years. So whenever I see tweets that are like, you know, if you're grumpy today, make sure you've consumed water and oxygen for the processes for life. I'm like, yeah, one step ahead of you, brother. You know, it's trying to keep my ATP factories pumping. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell and all that. Like, tell me something I don't know. But again, I'm not saying those people are just being corporate positive. I actually think that that's part of their thing, if that makes sense. I don't think they're putting on an act. I think they are being positive, and that positivity they see as a good thing. And for some reason, I see it as obvious or saccharine or fake or whatever. But I think we could do better about not enabling such negativity on the show. Like, one of the things I'm working on personally from a discourse level is like, you know, I no longer, unless there's a really terrible example of it, I don't want to say X is bad or X is good anymore. You know, when we're talking about media properties at least. I want to say I don't like X. I want to say I liked X. Instead of like X is good, X is bad. Because I've seen it I'm doing my best as an adult to neutralize negativity in Twitch chat. Because, you know, I do think, not even to some extent, I think to a large extent, the audience that shows up in Twitch is a reflection of the streamer. The streamer gives them a cue for how to act, what kind of the tone of this channel is going to be. Which is why, you know, my chat, we got a certain edge to us. There's a little bit of cynicism and a lot of poking fun, and I like that, even if sometimes it crosses the line. And then, you know, Austin's chat is horny, and Nick's chat is philosophical, and, you know, you get the idea. But I'm trying to be better, because, you know, here's the way I see it happen in chat all the time. Hold on, let me check the shop. Greed? No greed. Even better. I say, well, my favorite movie of 2018, you know, when I look back, is probably Hereditary. And then someone in chat goes, Hereditary was mediocre. Hereditary was bad. And then somebody goes, if you think Hereditary is bad, you've got a smooth brain. And they go, oh, well, if you think Hereditary's good, you probably like eating your own poop. You know, it leads to arguments like this that are just nonsense. You know, you're really going to argue over, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you're not arguing over the media property anymore at that point. You're not arguing whether or not Hereditary is good. Instead, it's this guy has become, he's insulting my intelligence specifically, and he must be sundered. I don't know where our HP is at. I'm going to take that just to be safe. I also need to think. I think we're better off with illuminated bulb. Just remember, you only use your spacebar item once you've started a room. You don't use it at the end of the room. Actually, it's still kind of bad for this, but anyway. Good job, Bumbo. So instead, here's what I want to happen, okay? It's like this. Yeah. It'd be like, Hereditary was my favorite movie of 2018. Someone says Hereditary is bad. First off, don't even give him the time of day on that one. Bumbo, race him. Because obviously that opinion, you know, is no good can come from that conversation. Instead, all you got to do is go, well, I didn't like Hereditary because I thought that the characters in the movie made some really bad decisions. Or I didn't like it because, I mean, some people, they got what I would consider invalid criticisms for me, but valid criticisms, you know, depending on their own unique perspective. You know, they say things like, it's not a spoiler, by the way, but it is you know, it's spoiling a certain theme of Hereditary, I guess. They go like, any movie that has to explain itself with a monologue in the final 5 minutes is a 0 out of 10 in my book. I don't remember reading that one in Roger Ebert's Film Criticism Handbook, but, you know, I've never read that book. In fact, that book may not actually be a real book that exists, so don't let me stop you. I wish, you know, I could make life easy on myself by doing that only a Sith deals in absolutes sort of thing, but, you know, more power to you. You know, I think and it's not because I want to put more positivity out into the world necessarily, it's just because so much of, particularly in Twitch chat, YouTube comments, blah, 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 how much time is wasted every day. And I know the statement, you know, time enjoyed is not wasted. Yeah, but is this time really enjoyed? You know, how much time is spent every day arguing about inane nonsense that really, in the whole scheme of things, doesn't matter at all? I really thought we could squeeze through there. And I think we do have to peep the cursed room in an effort to become Guppy, and it mostly worked out. Didn't get the Guppy, but still. You know, I think I have not a responsibility, but a prerogative as a streamer to help foster an environment where people aren't spending, you know, half an hour a day getting into fights over, you know, whether Captain Marvel is a besmirchment of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe properties that came before it. You know, I just think we could do a little better about that. That's my opinion on the subject, at least. It's hard, though, dude. Because X is bad. That's a statement you get a lot of, like, he's right in chat. It feels good. But, you know, working on it. And I don't think, you know, unbridled positivity, I don't necessarily see it as an objectively good thing. You know, I think positivity, too much positivity, like too much negativity, it can be harmful, you know? If you're always like, you can do anything you can put your mind to, I think it's an empowering attitude. But, simultaneously, sometimes I think a good dose of realism is actually conducive towards achieving your goals, you know? Like, I'll use working out as a metaphor because I'm not in class right now. So working out is the only spectrum and lens that I have to look through this with, you know? If I was like, you know, my goal is to pack on 30 pounds of muscle this year without the aid of illegal pharmaceuticals, I would hope that people would be like, hey man, I think you should pursue your goal for sure, but that's a very unrealistic endpoint, you know? Maybe try to refactor that to a more realistic scenario, and then, you know, hey, even if you don't hit, you know, 30 pounds, even if you gain 10 pounds of muscle over the course of the year, that's amazing, you know? Good, more power to you. So I think, you know, I think there's a place for both, let's put it that way. And that reminds me, okay, because I'm an enlightened centrist, I have to go to bat for something. There was a tweet that went viral by Business Insider. I have no love for this publication whatsoever, but it was noted author and unproductivity expert Timothy Ferriss, a man who I also do not really, I don't know what word I'm going to use here. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I don't like the Tim Ferriss school of philosophy, and I've read the 4-Hour Workweek, believe it or not. Spoilers, if that's his most famous book, is like, hey, get rich only working 4 hours a week, sort of. What does it boil down to? Essentially exploiting labor from parts of the world where it's a lot cheaper than it would be to do it yourself. Again, more power to him. I don't necessarily think/know if he's a bad person, right? So, but his work smart, not hard philosophy, I find it a little bit annoying. But again, he's got lots of fans. You know, I'm not trying to say he's a terrible. Again, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying I disagree with him. There's a good chance to practice what I preach here, or what I'm trying to preach at least. So it was a video interview with Tim Ferriss where he talks about his morning routine, and I'm gonna tell you, this isn't gonna garner him many more fans. Okay. What's his morning routine? Wakes up immediately, meditate for 20 minutes. 22 minutes, he says specifically. 20 minutes to meditate with a guided direction, and then 2 minutes for his brain to just do whatever it wants to do so it's not inhibiting him with that for the rest of the day. Then he takes like another 10 or 15 minutes and he journals. So he writes down, you know, what he wants to accomplish for the day, and he calls it getting his monkey brain out on the page. So I guess that's like all your, you know, cerebellum sort of stuff that pops in there, your fears, your anxieties, you know, your grievances, what have you. And I'm not saying these are bad, by the way. I'll get to where I'm trying to go with this point in a second. And then after he does that, he does some exercise. You know, he says 20 to 90 minutes of exercise. His words, not mine. Riding on a Peloton bike. You know, I mean, what can you say? He's an angel investor. Of course he's got a Peloton. I'm not hating on that. But why, first off, do I take issue with this interview? Well, I don't take issue with the interview, except that I don't understand the purpose of it. And I'm about to take Tim's side, by the way, but I don't understand the purpose of it from an actionable standpoint. I feel like most people engaged in the reading of Business Insider, I mean, I make my own hours. I realistically could implement Tim Ferriss's morning routine, but it is like, you know, 80 to 120 minutes of getting ready for the day each morning. That's a long time. You gotta recognize you're in a luxurious position in your life when, you know, you can wake up and then take 120 minutes to get your day started. Most people wake up, you know, shower, brush their teeth, get in their car, go to work. You know, are you gonna wake up 2 hours earlier so you can journal before you go to your, you know, 9 to 5? Probably not. So I do think that it's a weird interview for a magazine to do, and I understand why it made people upset. But not upset, but annoyed. I also got annoyed, though, when I was reading the replies. Because the replies on Twitter, straight up, like 80 to 90% of them were like, wow, 20 minutes of guided meditation as soon as you get up, huh? No making lunches for the kids or trying to drag them out of bed to get them to school. Oh, wow, he gets to do 45 minutes of exercise every morning before he starts his day. Must be nice to not have kids. Hey, Tim Ferriss didn't run out, like, on you. I don't understand why you ragging on Tim Ferriss for living his life here. Tim Ferriss didn't come to your house and go, hey, you know, held you at gunpoint and said, hey, have kids. You know? I think you could, if you want to make a point against Tim Ferriss, all you have to do is type Lamal in the replies. That'll get him. Saying like, wow, must be nice to not have the burden of children. It doesn't make any sense to me, because like, I'm not saying kids are a burden necessarily, but you did it to yourself. I mean, with help, but you know what I mean. Like, if I'm gonna rag on him, I'm more gonna be like, dude, that's impractical advice even for a childless adult. But then, you know, to be like, oh, well, oh, Mr. Richie Rich doesn't have kids, I see. I mean, what kind of article are you looking for there? You know, Tim Ferriss apologizes for being childless in his early 40s. I don't understand. Doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I just, you know, I think the article, the interview is dumb for other reasons. That's all I'm trying to say. Dude, I need some HP. I've done this to myself, but let's walk back here. I was focusing on the rant there. Anyway, you know, I don't know, there's been a lot of focus recently on, like, morning routines. I don't know, I think there's, like, here's my 2 cents, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree. I think that people are always looking to wealthy, fulfilled, successful people for the habits that they have, because they think enacting those habits is more likely to make them wealthy, successful, etc., etc. And I don't necessarily think that's wrong. However, sometimes I believe the habits of wealthy, successful people are a result of the fact that they're wealthy and successful and have the space in their life where they can maybe spend 2 hours every morning getting ready for their day that probably consists of going around to big, tall glass office buildings and being like, sure, here's $10 million, give me $1 billion in 10 years. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but, you know, when these people were on their ascent, I mean, if that's what if you're looking for actionable advice, I imagine, you don't want their habits when they're at the tippy top. You want their habits when they're going up the roller coaster chain, right? What could it be? Steven? It's not so bad. I don't know. All I'm saying is, I don't know. You can't be. Tim Ferriss made the sacrifice to not have kids in order to be, had to have more time in his life. Must be nice to not have kids. I mean, I would more rag on him for being a little bit out of touch instead of for him being childless, I suppose. I don't know. I'm probably either preaching to the converted or barking way up the wrong tree, though. Regardless, it gave us a topic for conversation, right? I mean, I got a morning routine too, and my morning routine is very helpful for me in staying productive, but also for mental health purposes. Working out's been really good, but I also recognize not everybody is in a place where they can really afford to spend an hour a few times a week before working out to get their head in the right place. They got other things on the go due to the circumstances of their lives. It's kind of impractical. I will say, did you see that article it was in a British newspaper, or a magazine maybe. I don't remember the specifics, but it was like, hey, all these big time rich, I don't know if they're all startup CEOs or whatever, but all these very successful people, particularly in the tech and marketing industries, they give their morning routines, and they were just absolutely talk about overcomplicating life. I'm not even being facetious. They were mostly I wake up at precisely 5:45 every morning. I stare at the sun with my naked eyes because scientists have said that it's okay to stare at the sun without any form of eye protection for the 10 minutes between 5:50 and 6 a.m. Following this, I consume vitamins specifically tailored to my morning routine that will help give me the energy and fuel to get throughout the day. Then I engage in mindful meditation for precisely 36.5 minutes, focusing on what I want to accomplish for that day as well as envisioning my future. Then I engage in some light acro yoga, Peloton spin class, and also plyometrics in order to build the explosive energy that I feel I will need to accomplish my goals in a corporate environment today. And then they got I know that sounds absurd already. Must be nice to not have kids, right? But then, also, what a terrible thing. What if your kid read that? Anyway, but, they're probably not gonna, because I don't think your 8-year-old is likely to follow Business Insider on Twitter, but anyway. Following that, there were some really good bits, I go to the office and I make an effort to fist bump every single employee, just to let them know that, they're appreciated. I'm like, dude, I can't say this with authority, but I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of your coworkers hate you. A third of your coworkers want to beat you, and the other 2/3 are like, this guy is a real d-hole. Yeah, we don't have any benefits, but don't worry, he comes around and fist bumps us every day, so, no harm, no foul, bro. I just, I'm doing okay in my life. I'm not at startup CEO level, depending on the startup, I guess, but it all seems so complicated. I'll tell you one thing. I believe in the idea that if you're trying to be productive, early on in the day, you should do something productive. You don't have to be productive at all hours of all days. You could take a day off. Who cares? Of hearts. But if you have a day where you're like, today, I have to be productive, start by doing something, even if it's something small. You wake up, grab a cup of coffee, mop the floor, vacuum, shave, shower. Don't just go sit down at the computer and then be like, okay, at 11 I'm going to start doing something. Once you get that momentum going, I think it's infectious. That's my only morning tip. That's why I like working out in the morning, is because, right as soon as I get up, I don't have to think about what to do. I can just go down and do something. And then when I come up, I'm like, all right, take a little bit to rest, but then hop into the day. And I think it gives you a little bit of added momentum. for the rest of the day. But I don't know, I'm not even saying meditation is bad. It does sound boring, but I think that's on me. I've heard that the effects are, particularly, you know, as someone with much higher blood pressure than they should have at their age. I really thought they'd give me bombs there. It probably would be helpful to do something like that. Maybe, I don't know, I got a lot of 2019 resolutions concurrent right now. Maybe we'll push that on to 2020. We'll circle back, see how we feel about that corporate synergy next year. It just seems like that's a lot of stuff early in the morning. You know, I remember when I worked at 9 to 5, technically an 8:30 to 4:30. Wake up at like 7:15 in the morning. What do? 15 minutes of guided meditation and journaling? Nah, dude, take a shower and, you know, get in the car, drive to work. To be fair, most of the time I probably got there 15 minutes early. Just enough time to fist bump everybody in the office. It's just, you know. I'll never begrudge anybody for, you know, taking their health seriously. Like, I think that's cool, but the staring straight into the sun one, that was not even exaggerated. That was almost word for word. I got the times wrong, I'm sure, but one of the testimonials was like, yeah, I stare into the sun for 3 minutes every morning because scientists have said in the first 10 minutes of it rising, it's okay to do it. And I was like, what are you doing? You really? Sorry, Mom, I can't come to the phone right now. I'm staring straight into the sun to awaken the vitamin D receptors in my... I don't know, maybe like... I think a lot of people, and I'm not a doctor, you know, so maybe I'm the wrong one here. A lot of people think there's like, you know, hacks for the brain. Like, bro, I just overclocked my cerebral cortex by looking at the sun directly for 3 minutes. I don't know if that's that's sensible. I have a hunch that it's not sensible, but anyway, must be nice to not have kids, right? I mean, here's the thing, it is, but like, you know, I don't know. I hope that when/if I become a parent, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, you had a nice sit-down lunch at a restaurant. Must be nice to not have kids. Like, hey, scumbag, you're the one who did the deed. It's not like it was a roll of the dice for us. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!